Well, I just don't believe in that. That's just my opinion. Like I said, America's a great thing. You can have your own opinions. And if I ever see something like that, I would follow. I don't see myself ever seeing something like that. I usually have an open mind, but I don't believe in aliens. I don't believe in UFOs. I think the whole idea is ridiculous.
Yeah, but, I mean, on the radio show.
I mean, you have your opinion, I have mine. I think the idea is ridiculous. That's why I was actually listening tonight. I think it's ridiculous. But that's my opinion, like you said, you have your opinion, and I have mine, and I just think it's ridiculous.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, like I was just giving the information, for example, Stephen Greer has literally been to Washington and we're talking about astronauts that first walked on the moon, and those astronauts and everything telling stories about, these people are actually in jeopardy of losing their careers or their good standing in the community by coming clean with the UFO and alien stories. So, of course, to not believe is everyone's priority or prerogative, if you don't want to believe, or believe. But I just wanted to pass the info that there's actually proof for people that want proof. There is proof out there.
Well, I appreciate that, but I'm good without the proof. I already have my beliefs. I'm very strong in them, and I definitely do not think that Jesus is an alien. So that's my opinion. And
let me ask you a question, caller. I want to ask you this question. So when you listen to people like us out here, do you think they're just like people like this are like we're like crazy, or what? Do you think we need to see psychiatrists? What's up?
Yes, I do. I think the whole idea is crazy. I guess I don't know if y'all are crazy, but how y'all are talking is crazy. To think, she doesn't sound as crazy to me as the one guy did, because she's talking normal. He sounded like he was on drugs.
He's very hyperactive. Benny is hyper. I know that. He probably had some caffeine before the show.
My God, give him a chance. He had 4 espressos.
And to hear y'all talk, I really do think that y'all are. I love your show, but I just think this topic is crazy.
Well, I'm glad that and I respect your opinion. That's why we did this, because that way I wanted to hear everybody's opinion.
And I respect your opinion. I just don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm glad.
A lot of people don't believe that you can see angels and demons or whatever. I just don't believe in that. But
if you come back tomorrow, we're going to have a psychologist on the show, so you'll like that show. Trust me. All right.
Yeah, I'll be sure to come back tomorrow. But thank you for giving me the information. I just don't believe in it, but you guys go right along. That's good that you guys are just strongly to believe in something now. I'm not even being a smart ass.
Okay.
Everybody's got to believe in something.
Well, thank you for at least calling in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Nate had the story about when, he literally went and prayed for the question if there was, UFOs and so forth or whatever. And the bottom line to the story is he actually had results. And once again, I'm saying, with my UFO story, I didn't care about UFOs. I didn't think about UFOs. We're talking about 1984 or something. Who really thought about that? I guess I wasn't interested in that, and of course I wouldn't have believed anything. And maybe, just maybe, I would have thought there was ghosts. But if you can't see it and it doesn't happen to you, of course you don't think about it. And then all of a sudden, wow, this very close encounter, and it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me and several people, although we were the close up, but then it was the entire neighborhood, a very wealthy neighborhood at the time that my father lived in, and the city mayor, and everyone owned a business, and supposedly credible to the, they're not, what some people even would think of as uncredible people, which I just think, that's kind of, I don't like to stereotype or use the categorizes, but I'm just saying, for the fact of the matter is, I mean, you get enough people and you see something, there is something going on. Now, you know, obviously, I can only say that, of course, I don't recall an actual alien entity coming out of the vehicle and coming towards me, but I do have the entire night of missing time. The technology was so incredibly silent, and the maneuvers, and when you blinked, it, you know, finally went out of sight. And I mean, there's so many things to it that you say, I'm sorry, but that you cannot do that with human hands. You cannot be a part of that. It has to be otherworldly, and I don't care what anybody says. It has to be, because you know your technology for the day, and even what the government hides, and that was still beyond it. I mean, and you know, it's just so. I'm just saying, if someone, you know, and of course, you know, I respect everybody's opinion and right to think what they want, but also to close your mind. I think it's a little unfair to close your mind, and this is, of course, my opinion that I'm stating about anyone in general, and no one in particular, but if you close your mind to what is possible, then you have to close your mind to the Bible and religion in all shapes and forms. You have to close your mind to so many things and say, don't go outside the box and try to learn anything new, because you have to, don't give it a chance. And in a way, it's not fair. So it's not fair for the person who's closing their mind. And I think that, I'm just saying, Stephen Greer Disclosure Project, and if you see a video and you don't agree, that's one thing. But if you see how they're all in business suits, they're all serious, they go to Washington, they try to, you know, get with Obama. I mean, it's just, there's proof in that, and these people are all, I mean, if you don't get much more credible than many astronauts, you know, Buzz Aldrin, and I mean, just people that are like, they're on their last leg of, you know, life, in the sense that they don't care now, and they know that they're just going to go ahead and spill the beans. And this is what the project's doing. So, paranormal, whatever, you know, UFOs in the Bible, at least, you know, I mean, I saw that UFOs were in the Bible when I was reading the Bible for religious purposes only, and I wasn't thinking of UFOs. And then I felt guilty, and I was like, well, why am I thinking of this? What a horrible person I am. I shouldn't think of God, you know, as having anything to do with extraterrestrials. But then when I researched the Aramaic and all the ancient scripts and everything of trying to get to the core of the matter, learning, you know, all this, I found, you know, of course, as everybody might know now, but, you know, I didn't at the time, that angel really was messenger. And when a messenger comes from the sky, we would call it an alien coming from the sky. It's not going to be, you know, what is that? I can't even think of her name. Amelia Earhart that finally shows up. You know, because back then, you know, there's no airplane. So if somebody comes from the sky, it's going to be an extraterrestrial. That's just, I mean, and it doesn't have to mean alien in the sense of nano with the two fingers and the, you know, bulbous head. I mean, whatever it is, it's just coming from the sky, and it's not terrestrial, and that's where it's not of this earth. So if you look at it in that way, it won't be as scary, and it won't be as surreal. And I think if people just have their minds open to that, they'll see, okay, well, it doesn't have to be scary. It doesn't have to be, oh, you see a UFO, and therefore, you know, the world's going to end, or because UFOs, aliens, everything really is a positive message. And this is what, if people are scared and they want to, you know, and a lot of people do, that even my family members I'm talking about, they don't even want to talk about UFOs or aliens. They get scared. They get shut off their mind, and they say it doesn't exist, or they say, you know what I mean, they just don't want to hear it, because it might change their reality of then who are we really, and where's the next move in our, you know, chess game of life, you know, if we know, or else they think that all of a sudden we're going to get hurt. You know, oh, they're coming to kill us. No, because they would have taken care of our butts a long time ago, and if they were, you know, so they're not, it's not harmful, because that's just a fact you can tell, or we would have been gone. And all of the yeah, and you know what? All of the petroglyphs and things, and even the Egyptian pyramids show aliens, if you want to call them, shows extraterrestrial and UFOs, and even drawing of helicopters and things that obviously they didn't have back then. Stories of Atlantis and so many things. And I mean, we could go on, but it's like, and of course, and then another thing to prove it. Back when they thought the Earth was flat, and there was, and they barely thought maybe it wasn't. Well, all of a sudden, you find that for thousands of years, the Egyptian pyramids had written on it the carvings of exactly the way the galaxy and the solar system looks, with the planets and all of the appropriate planets aligned going around the sun, which nobody knew about until so many years, practically so many years ago. And even a 10th planet, or whatever, an extra planet, I should say, that is really just now been found. And we would call that Nibiru, Planet X, all that. Now, I'm sorry, we didn't even know about it, but yet Egyptians had that on the thing. So how can somebody say it doesn't exist, or it's not credible stuff, or that they don't believe? It's not a matter of believing, it's a matter of saying, do you have ears to hear? Because if you have ears to hear, just like the Bible says, then it's your obligation to hear and listen and weigh in on the information you hear. You can't say you didn't hear the information. You have to say, wait a minute, what does this information mean to me? And it's not going to be scary. And if I know a lot of family members of mine, particularly women, I must say, they don't want to hear. I actually have a friend, she doesn't believe in any of this stuff, and she has children, and it scares her with the children. It makes her feel as though her children's lives are, somehow threatened and everything, which I totally, you have to protect your family. I get it, but you cannot take and stick your head in the sand and pretend like it doesn't exist. Pretend like nothing's happening. If there's an earthquake, stick your head into a rabbit hole and hope that the earth isn't going to open up on you. That's not going to help you by pretending it's not real. You have to at least open your mind and say, okay, there's something really going on. And that's just the responsible thing to do. Especially, now, there's no excuse with internet and everything. I can't even imagine how we can go from an internet site to another internet site, or let alone chat rooms with Skype and people getting together and people messaging each other. See, just because we don't know how it works doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Well, I don't know how it works, but it's real, So in other words, we have to find out if there's something to listen to. It's our responsibility as a human being to just please research it if you don't know. And then when you get done researching, you make an opinion. But if you don't start any research and you have research at your fingertips, I feel as though it's a little foolish, and I tell my family and friends who don't believe, and I know that they're kind of scared, and then a lot of times they'll just say, well, if I believed, then it would turn literally one of my friends said, if I believed, it would turn my world upside down. Meaning that she is afraid to, and she admitted it. But okay, I guess that's the first step, isn't it? In any program, it's the first step to admit that there's an issue going on of some sort. And then at least, and I'm not saying go on from there, but first step is first step. Our generations, they know so much technology now, and it's just ridiculous. There's no excuse to be, and I don't mean dumb, but I mean ignorant in literally the description in the dictionary. Just, not informed. I'll say it this way instead, not informed. There's no excuse to be not informed about something that is, we're talking about astronauts and government talking about this underneath the surface. We have to be informed. That's almost absolutely like security and everything else. But that is my opinion again, and I'm just telling a little of my own family situation. Not everybody in my family believes this, but they know that,
Eric, I'm glad you shared that, because that way people can understand it, those people who don't, believe in it. And somebody out there might be saying, this is the reason why I don't come forward, because of that reason. So that'll help people who's out there that's dealing with this as well. So I'm glad you shared your story with us, and thank you for calling in. I'm going to go to another phone call real quick, hon. I do appreciate you calling in, though.
Thank you.
Thank you. You take care, Erica. I'm glad she called in. She's awesome. Again, you know, she was talking about this stuff, and I'm glad that we actually did that. We're going to actually, and I'll tell you what, I want to pick George up here from Port Orange Paranormal Society. And one of the things about George is he's a paranormal investigator from Florida. And let me just show you some of the stuff that we do. I shouldn't say we do, but we do as far as paranormal investigators. Anyway, I'm just going to show you some of the stuff that we do here, or the stuff that George had found as far as EVPs. And I just want you guys to hear some of the stuff. And then also, before I even play that, I want to play this recording that somebody sent me. I don't even know who it is, but it says these are voices that are being played, but they actually were played backwards. So I just want to hear this, everyone. You guys can listen along with me. It was a recording from somebody that sent it to me. We're going to listen to this real quick, and then we're going to pick George up. So we're going to show you this and a couple EVPs, and then George is next. Here it is.
Ja, en precies. Jag snart med pappa är från vår mässan. Jag vet att det är så svårt att säga. Jag släpps ner. Så jag är nog jag har det att vi ska gå och sitta. Här är bra. Nå, inte alla. Så är det vår mässan. Jag vet inte. Det var det är för det. Han har inte vägar. Han har inte vägar. Nå, vi så mässan anses. Yeah. Yeah, the beer like and I think yeah, I have not the figures already or lucky beer I know with me to up.
All right, so when you listen to that was actually being played backwards. I don't even know what the heck it was. They didn't even specify what's on there, but it's really interesting. I guess it's an EVP and it's being played backwards. I have no clue. Interesting though. Thank you, whoever sent that to me. By the way, I get all kinds of neat stuff here on this show. I really do. I mean, it's so awesome. That's what I like about this show. Let me show you some of the stuff that George had caught as an EVP. And him being a paranormal investigator, see, we deal with ghosts and demons and, stuff like that. We deal with spirits. We deal with bad spirits. We deal with all that kind of stuff. And when we're doing this type of paranormal investigations, we see stuff. And I'm sure that George is like me. He's heard it from other people. He may not have, but I'm sure he's heard people saying that's bad to do this stuff. It's bad to get out and get involved in it. And I've heard it many, many times from a lot of my friends and family members who are around me. They said, just if I were you, I wouldn't even mess with it because these are not people that you're speaking to. These are demons. All the time, that's all I hear. Demons, demons, demons. It's not. If you remember from what I told you as far as the fraction of percent, there's 80% explainable as far as hauntings in this paranormal world, as far as hauntings or anything that deals with the paranormal on that side of it, not UFOs or any of that stuff. But there's 80% explainable. It's already been explained by the paranormal field. But there's 20% that has not, and that would break down into 4 categories. The first one, being the top of the category, would be residual hauntings. That's where a spirit or a ghost would actually make an imprint of itself, and it would actually repeat itself like a recording. The next thing would be intelligent response from a spirit, which actually can communicate with you on an intelligent level. In other words, you can ask a question, it can respond back to you, therefore that's an intelligent spirit. It could be verbal, it could be a nonverbal motion, but as long as it's responding to you or it's making point that you're there, that's an intelligent spirit, whereas a residual spirit does not know you're even around. The next classification is poltergeist. Everybody knows what a poltergeist is. If you don't know what that is, look it up. The next line is non-human. That is a 1% of the 20%. Non-human. Non-human is demons, angels, etc., etc., etc. So there you have it. That's a very low percentage on the haunting scale or even in the paranormal field. In other words, this stuff does not hit every 5 seconds like people think. So here we go. I'm going to show you some EVPs, and then we're going to bring George in. Here is an EVP caught by George, and you'll hear a woman on here screaming, "Get out!" This is at the Surreal House I believe her name was Matilda, if I'm not mistaken. But here's an EVP of her screaming, "Get out, get out, get out," because this lynch mob was breaking into her room, and they were breaking into her bedroom to kill her. I believe it's her bedroom. As they broke in through the room, you hear her saying, "Get out, get out, get out." But here's the weird part. She died like way back before this EVP was done, so that's wicked. Okay, here it is. And I want to say this is a good job, and I believe it's residual. That's what I believe that this EVP is. But to me, it's a Class A. Here it is. All right, did you guys hear that? It's really interesting when you hear something like that. Again, that's actually a spirit, and it's definitely, to me, like it's the same thing that I believe Taps captured, if I'm not mistaken, when they did the investigation in the same place. It was the same voice, I should say. Okay, here is another one that's really interesting from Port Orange Paranormal Society. When you're listening to this stuff, it's very interesting. But here's something that comes up that I want you guys to hear, and you're going to hear it say. You're actually going to hear it say, "Don't forget us." And this is actually a man. It's a human spirit, and here it is. His name is Gabe. Okay, I'm going to play it again, but I'm going to enhance it by 4 times. Here it is. Did you guys hear that? It's very low tone. These spirits do communicate. Now, you're going to hear this. This is called a shack hack, or a spirit box. This is where people would actually use this device that actually works between radio frequencies. One split second between radio frequencies. I think it hits like 300 and something stations. I think it might be 100 and something stations, 300 to something stations. I don't know exactly the whole thing. I'm going to ask George when he comes on here. But anyway, the shack hack or spirit box known will actually pick through different channels, and what spirits will do, they'll actually communicate between the white noise. Here is a spirit actually communicating. It's saying thank you. Here it is. Did you guys hear that? That is clear. Hey, man, that's clear. That's a good capture, I want to say, by George, by the way. Here is another EVP, or this is actually an EVP, and we're actually going to play this one. We're going to bring George in, and I always play this one just to bring George into the show. It's George's theme song, or I should say theme, or introduction EVP before he comes on my show. So here it is. I'm going to play it I'm going to play it twice. I want you guys to hear it. You'll hear the spirit clearly state George. It will say his name, George. And again, this spirit sounds like it might be a little ticked off, but listen to it. Here it is. One more time. All right, and we are going to bring onto the show right now. All right, let's bring him on right now. Here's George from Port Orange Paranormal Society. Welcome to the show, George. How you doing, man?
Doing good, Jerry. It's good to see that you are you're bringing up a very non-controversial topic tonight.
I'm glad that you agree with that.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I don't know, man. This is I mean, I'm glad that we expanded a little bit to do this, but I knew it was going to happen. I already knew it. I already foreseen it, I guess.
Boy, you got a few blood pressures going up a little bit there.
I know. Everybody's blood pressure is going to jump up. I'm going to have people that's going to stroke out on me, and then they're going to I'm going to have to put a disclaimer on the show. Oh man. That
stimulates ratings, and people get interested in it, and they have a lot of opinions about it, both positive and negative, whether it's about the UFOs or whether it's about religion. Both of those are very strongly debated on both sides topic.
Yeah, it is. Because, like with you and I, when we're doing paranormal investigations, as far as spirits, ghosts, whatever, poltergeist, all that different stuff, we're doing this stuff, and then sometimes I'm sure you've come across it. Have you ever come across that situation? I should ask you that, where people kind of tell you, why are you doing this or anything like that? Have they ever debated what you do?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, and I think I told the story once about meeting up with Adam Bly, and Scotty Roberts was on the show the other night talking about Adam Bly also. He is a devout Catholic. He is a practitioner of exorcisms with the Catholic Church, and he's one of these people that will tell you straight out, you should not be doing this by any aspect whatsoever. He said that to a mass of people at a paranormal retreat at Stanley Hotel. And I'm not one to be quiet, and I raised my hand and I said, so you're telling me I just spent $349 to come to this event, and you're telling me that I shouldn't be doing this? And he said, well, technically, yeah, you shouldn't be doing this. I was pissed off, for lack of a better term. But, it's the risk that we take. It's what we do. We want to jump into this, and we understand. You do learn and you do understand the risks that are involved with this. Everybody tells you at every turn that be prepared for, the unexpected. And, if you are not going to be prepared for that, then, I'm still waiting for that point in time to be scratched, pushed, knocked down, punched, whatever. And then I'll reevaluate whether or not I still want to do this field of study. But until that point in time comes, it's a never-ending pursuit for me, without question.
Yeah, I'm glad that we actually do this because, a lot of people will tell us, like I said, that's one of the things because whenever I've actually come in contact with this. I've come in contact with this topic with people, even on other shows, and they will actually, they'll talk about spirits and ghosts and Bibles, and they'll say, the Bible only talks about spirits, and they never talk about ghosts. I said that's wrong. It talks about ghosts. I said clearly states that there are ghosts, in this universe. There's ghosts out here. I said it does, speak about it. Even in the Catholics even use the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost as part of their Trinity prayer. So to me, when I hear people say that, I always look at them and say, you can believe whatever you want to, but to me, there is the word ghost is out here. But people have a different terminology, and I think that they try to get mixed up. Is there a different definition between ghost and spirit, George? Are they the same thing?
By definition, they're separate, but we use the terminology so loosely now that it's kind of become a gray area. Whereas before it used to be black and white, both being one aspect of an entity and spirit being more having to do with God and Jesus and angels, and yes, so it's completely become more of a murky water when we talk about that topic in our field. Now, when you're dealing with those who cross over, not so much paranormal, but dealing with demonics and exorcisms and stuff, they have to be absolutely on the line about what it is that they're talking about and what it is that they're dealing with, and from a religious aspect. And I was raised Catholic, and I've said very openly on the show before, I dearly believe in God. I know He's close to me, and the experiences that I've had in this field of study, and what happened with Amanda, and the last time I went to church was on 9/11. Where I actually went in and prayed, but I pray all the time. I think about it all the time. But I don't want to wax on regards to that. I've known and I've experienced enough that, there seems to be